All right, let's just get this recording started just because.
You can always edit stuff.
Yeah, I always do.
Yeah.
Actually, lately I've been taking all these, all the stuff that's extra on the side. I did that as the intro.
So yeah, like just a little snippet of banter.
Yeah.
To, look, guys, we're not that boring. And it's the rest is low energy.
It's yeah. I was like, all right, guys.
All right, we are recording now, guys.
Yep.
Be serious.
Let's be serious. Let's talk in our commanding voices.
No.
Just kidding. All right. Let me just use this as so I know where to start. Hey guys, welcome to the Work Time Fun Podcast. I'm your coworker L, and let's get started. On today's podcast, we've also got our guests, co-hosts again, and I'm just gonna let them introduce themselves.
I am Retro Raymond.
And I'm just Marqui.
All right, a little more pep.
All right. Hey guys, welcome. How are you guys today?
A little tired, but we got these energy drinks.
Yeah, I just picked up some energy right now.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cut that out and then say, all right.
No, leave that in.
That's good, you guys. On today's podcast episode, we are finishing up or wrapping up the Pluto anime on Netflix. Last time we discussed just kind of episode 1.
That's my fault because I only watched one episode.
Because someone here only watched one episode while the rest of us watched a little bit more.
Yeah. I watched Astro Boy, though.
Okay, so good point. So we got that. But I think before we dive into Pluto, I just want to talk about anything that we might have watched, seen, caught over this past week or so that's a little bit different, or I don't know, anything that is interest to you guys.
Well, I saw episode 2 of The Legend of Prince Valiant, which is a 1991 cartoon, exclusively on the Family Channel, if you guys remember. I think it was their first year as a cable network. You know the network with the 700 Club?
I have no idea.
Yeah, the Family Channel?
No.
The Family Channel.
I think now it's called... is
that on cable TV streaming, or what is
cable
that?
Cable TV.
Yeah.
It's called... They just changed their name again. But
so it was a previous network or...
It used to be like some Christian... cable channel, and then they changed the Family Channel, and they added The Legend of Prince Valiant as kind of one of their launch like one of their launch shows.
And it's a cartoon from the 90s.
It's a cartoon from the 90s based on a comic strip written in the 30s.
Oh wow!
And it's a good comic strip. No, it's not that good. It's a little dated, but the art is very good. It holds up.
Okay, so then are you watching it because of the art, or actually?
Well, I'm just a big fan of comic strips in general. So I do read newspaper comics from like 30s, 40s, 50s. And a lot of the stuff was converted to cartoons. Like, you guys have Blondie and...
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
And yeah, Blondie had a cartoon in the 80s, like a special, like Family Circus and stuff like that. In the 70s and 80s, they were all converted to these cheap cartoons.
Oh, actually, you know what? That brings up a good point, because that Riverdale show, isn't it based on a comic strip? It's
Riverdale's based off Archie.
Archie, yeah. That's a comic strip, right?
They did have a comic strip, but they were actually just a comic, like a comic book series.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Did it start as a comic strip and then became a comic?
No, it was a comic book first.
Okay.
I mean, Superman and Spider-Man were also comic strips for a while.
Yeah, I recall that.
And they did bundle the Superman comic strips into a collection.
Mm-hmm.
It's like $1,000. Like I'll never get to see it. That's one of those holy grails I try to find at Comic-Con.
Really?
It's one of those things. You guys heard of Garfield, right? Garfield's popular.
Who's Garfield?
You not heard of that?
He's just kidding.
There's an example of a very popular
Gotcha.
comic strip that was successful in TV and movies.
Actually, I love Garfield.
I still like him too.
I blame Garfield for a reason why I love lasagna.
Oh,
Yeah. You know that? That's like one of his favorite dishes.
I know that. But
Yeah.
That's why. Okay, you're a kid.
Yes,
I get it.
I was young when I watched Garfield.
Yeah.
I actually had Garfield comic books.
Yeah,
the
the little rectangular.
Yes. Yeah. I had the little books and then watched the cartoon.
Yeah.
Not a fan so much of the recently, not recent, but past few years. The movies, live action.
I haven't seen any of the movies.
Yeah.
But I heard that they released Garfield like in a CG art style, like in the late aughts. And I heard it's really popular with kids for that generation. Oh. Like as popular as the cartoon we watched in like the early mid 90s.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I watch it. It's okay. it's Garfield humor.
Gotcha.
It's pretty timeless.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry I interrupted your Prince Valiant talk there.
Yeah, I talk more about Garfield than Prince Valiant.
I know. So which one is it really about? Just kidding. Actually, I like Garfield, and maybe since that's related to Prince Valiant somehow.
They're all comic strips.
Yeah, that's the relation. Yeah. So came from there. And then that's also how I talked about Riverdale. Because actually my wife watched that, so that's how I know of it.
Yeah.
And I just knew it came from, Archie, like you said. I don't know if there's anything else.
I love Archie, by the way. Yes, read Archie.
No.
All right.
No, not enough to really know. I probably see more Riverdale than Archie, honestly.
He's gone through a renaissance. He's much different now than he was, 20 years ago.
What else?
Yeah, no, I haven't picked up any like movies or shows or anything. But I do plan on watching Trigun. What's the other one? Spriggan? Yeah, I know it came out last year on Netflix, but I haven't seen the 90s movie, I think, and I haven't seen the Netflix adaptation.
I know you've always been bringing that up to me to watch.
Heck yeah.
So, okay, that'll be in my watch list because I do watch a lot of things. Honestly, I watch a lot of shows, movies,
here we go.
Trailers.
He does.
Elmer's got a whole list.
No, I don't have to list everything, but I think I'll just talk what's recent then, because otherwise we'll just be here forever. That'll be the whole podcast. Okay, so I guess most recently finished Gen V, which is the boys spinoff, the college years basically. If no one's ever watched The Boys, then you're totally in for a surprise. I don't know what else to say.
I haven't watched either.
Okay. Nope. Gotcha.
Sorry.
I can skip that. I mean, how about the anime Attack on Titan? You guys familiar with that?
I've watched season 1, and I actually have some of the manga. I'm kind of not a fan of the anime, really.
No?
The manga, I think, reads better.
I've kept up with like anime recaps, but as far as like watching every single episode, I haven't.
Real quick, where can we watch Attack on Titan in its entirety? Because Netflix only has 1 season.
Crunchyroll.
For that.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Not into anime. You'll be into the shows. But anyways, Attack on Titan. It had like this long hiatus between seasons, and especially this final season. It like did a final season for the past year, it felt like, or 2 years. And so they finally did a final season or final ending. And that premiered like this past weekend. And so that's what the whole buzz was for Attack on Titan.
Was it a pretty satisfying ending?
To me, it was. I mean, to a lot of people who are like the purist manga readers and stuff, they're like, oh man, this is crap because it is just like the manga. And a lot of people, I guess, were upset with the ending in the manga.
Interesting.
So, but I felt like it was fine. It's hard to say. That would have to be a deep dive in another time.
Yeah.
But that's something else I watched. What else? Oh, Invincible. Yes. No. Oh man. Invincible. American animation. It's actually based on a comic by Robert Kirkman. Robert Kirkman, who's also the same guy who's a creator of The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, Image Comics.
I don't know if it's Image, probably.
I actually have Walking Dead comics, and they're pretty good.
Yeah. Probably better than the show, especially now.
I never watched the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched the first season, and I thought it was pretty good, too.
Yeah. First couple seasons, then it just trailed off. And
Yeah. Actually, I heard Walking Dead is kind of what saved Image. Like, Image was going down the tubes.
Oh, yeah?
And Walking Dead was his big hit. And now their Image is, I don't know, okay.
Yeah. Aren't they just bought out by DC anyways?
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah, because like a lot of those side publishing companies just got absorbed by, either DC or Marvel.
They bought IDW. Is that
IDW?
They have the Gem and the Holograms comic.
Who does?
IDW.
But who owns it?
IDW.
Oh, you mean IDW?
Oh, I thought DC bought IDW. That's what I'm getting.
Okay.
Or Top Cow.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
It's on the book. Like,
yeah,
IDW's on the.
I thought those were just publishers of the comics, but they weren't. Oh, I'll look into that later.
Yeah, I don't know how that industry works. So
I talk about films and movies, man, and shows. I don't talk about comics.
Gem is a cartoon.
Gem?
Gem and Holograms.
No, Gem and Holograms. I watched that cartoon. Yeah. I never knew it was
It was rebooted it came out as a live action movie like 10 years ago. It was a total flop. But then they rebooted it as a comic, and I think that was pretty successful.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. My wife's into it, so I read it. I was like, this is pretty good. I like this too.
Nice. A lot of pop star ones. Kind of like Dazzler and the X-Men.
Oh, Dazzler. I'm not a big fan of the Dazzler.
Yeah. I don't know anything about her. I don't know anything about her, honestly. Besides, she's a
singer,
mutant pop star. I guess.
I think they updated her in the early '90s to be more
Jubilee.
Yeah, she's kind of
Jubilation Lee. Come on. No, I mean the only reason I bring that up because of the whole like Taylor Swift situation. I mean that was in the news a lot or popping up.
Is Dazzler like back in the comics or something?
No, the only talk is because of when was it Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, and the director of Deadpool 3, Sean Levy, was in attendance in the same football game with Taylor Swift. So that whole conversation or rumor kind of spread out.
Oh, that'd be kind of funny.
Yeah,
Taylor Swift played the Dazzler.
Yeah. Like I mean, you got a literal pop star.
Yeah,
that's going to be a singer and like the actual character. Yeah. But anyways,
yeah.
Okay, so we got that. Of course, I'm keeping up with Loki. That's everyone and their mother, except you two are watching Loki. Which is awesome because, not awesome that you guys aren't watching it, but awesome because Loki, it's nearing its finale. And a lot of people, like, a lot of buzz is that this is going to branch out and pretty much just explain the whole, like, where the MCU is going, basically, kind of. Or at least with King the Conqueror, if anyone's following the whole Marvel MCU series. And which also ties in because we got the Marvels that's coming out really soon. So that's a whole other one that's going to be out. And I don't know if you guys are going to be watching it soon, but I definitely will be. So
I'll try.
Yeah, no, I'll try. Probably tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to cut out the I'll try and then say, I will. That's it.
The I'll.
Topic of discussion.
I'll watch it.
AI.
All right. We got to get those Disney bucks, so.
I mean, if we do watch it, I assume that's going to be next week's conversation.
Yeah. Pretty soon.
What else? What else have you watched?
What else have I watched? Those are the main ones. I mean, there's probably a lot of things I could probably put in there, but it's not really in the scope of what this show's about. Because I try to keep it, within the superhero or kind of action or even, I guess now anime, since we've been covering a lot of anime.
Well, Pluto's kind of superhero-like.
Yeah. I mean, he is a superhero robot.
Yeah. And Prince Valiant is strong. It does follow the superhero.
Is he a hero?
It kind of doesn't.
Prince Valiant?
Yeah, he is a hero.
He's heroic.
Prince Valiant's like a heroic sounding name.
Yeah, it's in the name. Exactly. I was going to say that. Prince Valiant. Yes. Here to save the day. I don't know.
That's not what I'm watching.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of when you say 90s. And
oh, you think of Mighty Mouse?
Yeah, something like that. Oh, you got the reference. You knew it.
Yeah.
Mighty Mouse.
Pretty popular.
Yeah. We're all about the same age.
Okay. All right. So that kind of recaps what we've been, I guess, seeing or watching in the past week or so. And, will lead us into what we actually want to talk about, or for this episode, which is Pluto. We talked a little bit about episode 1, or we did talk about episode 1 last week, and a little bit of the series overall. And we all had our own opinions about it. And finally, we're going to wrap up and finally give our overall review.
Yeah. And I liked episode 1. in case no one listened to last week's episode.
And then I was in the camp that, it was a slow burn, and it probably would have turned me away if I wasn't committed to watching it.
Yeah, no, it was full spoilers ahead. So we only got to episode 1 last week. Now we get to do finally
two
all
through
of
eight.
them.
Yeah.
2 through 8.
Well, what did you think of episode 1?
Episode 1, I liked it. I thought it was up until because I got up to episode 6 last week, and I thought it was my favorite episode.
First one?
Up until 6. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I like what stories were in it. I guess that
is it. Mont Blanc. Blanc?
I have names here, so we're trying to.
Yeah. No, I think I was just trying to recap episode 1 again.
North number
That's
2.
North number 2 and Duncan. I have last week's notes here.
So Duncan. So then, since we've already established that, and how we thought about it, now that you've seen the series in its entirety, has that changed how you feel about the Pluto series or Pluto anime?
You go first.
Oh yeah, no. I liked it. In its entirety. I thought it was. I thought it was well done. I enjoyed. I enjoyed it in its entirety. Since we're gonna probably just do the whole series spoiler free now, so
no, not spoiler free. Spoiler full.
Spoiler full.
Yeah,
spoiler
full.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the entire series.
That's right.
Put in the description of the podcast. Hey, spoilers.
Yep.
So that's it. You said you liked it overall.
No, yeah.
Let's see. I wrote some. I think I wrote my feelings here. So for about 3/4 of the series, I was kind of all in on this show. I was ready to talk about kind of the theme of humanity, or whatever Pluto was trying to explore there.
Oh yeah, because you're all talking about the robots being an actual like a race, or
right.
Yeah.
I was tying it into what I saw in Astro Boy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
When I was done watching the show, I was kind of left thinking, is that it? Honestly, this is a show. This is what I wrote. Either it doesn't trust its audience's intelligence, or it's not as thematically deep as it attempts to be. It's a murder mystery with little mystery. There isn't one reveal at the end where I went, whoa. And I kind of feel like this show wasted my time because it kind of built up to nothing. I'm kind of down on the show overall.
Damn.
Yeah.
So total tonal shift from the first episode. Yeah. You're like, oh man, I love the first episode. I can't wait. And then
I thought they were going somewhere, and it didn't go anywhere. Like, and I could clarify some of my points that I brought up.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, overall, that's we're kind of just going over. It's funny that you mentioned it because I felt the opposite of that. Like, where, okay, the first 2 or 3 actually didn't captivate me, but then as soon as I got through halfway point, and it was like, was it the fighter robots? It was what are the names? I forgot the names. Hercules.
I have the names.
Brando and Hercules.
Brando.
Yeah. And all got past that point.
Gesicht.
Yeah. Epsilon, not so much. I didn't really care for Epsilon. I actually felt more. I felt more with Brando because he had his family, and then his kids were asking, "Oh, I want to go to the zoo. Can you go to the zoo with us?" I was like, "No, kids, I gotta do something, but don't worry, I'll catch you next time," or something like that.
Yeah.
But then right then and there, you already knew that he was going out to do something, which was fight Pluto.
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh man, that sucks." Being a parent myself, I felt that. So. In that kind of sense, but I get what you're saying. But overall, I felt like all the themes that it had, you kind of say humanity, but I think it's more than that. It's kind of overcoming hatred in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it overall. And when we get into specific details, like for me, like I said, it's relating to Brando. It's feeling for the characters, the robots together, how they were humanized in a way, and that Pluto was another humanized character, but in the sense of hatred, versus the other robots were like, built on like, not hatred. Well, no, I take that back, because Gesicht was filled with hatred when that Adolf's brother
killed Adolf.
Yeah, they name a guy Adolf.
Yeah,
Come on,
he killed his adopted daughter, Robita.
Yeah, adopted robot daughter. Thing.
Yeah,
I was like, oh man, and then Gesicht just went crazy, and then just blast. I thought he beat him up based on like what they said earlier in the series, like, oh man, you can't see his face. I didn't know he freaking blew him up.
He obliterated him, right?
Because
like giblets.
It's that cannon, like whatever he turns his arm into. And then, like earlier in the series, you see him use it against an armored vehicle to help stop it. And then all the police and everyone was like making a big deal, like, "Oh, who authorized this? Who gave him? What if he uses it against us?" You know, like they're all causing alarm. And then so that's cool because they set it up how it's like how big of a deal it is that he used it to kill this human that just like basically killed his adopted robot kid.
He shot Adolf's brother point blank too, with his armor killing.
Oh my gosh! I don't even know how you could have any body left to put in a.
I think that's
casket.
what they said. Like it says he just saw meat or something.
Giblets.
Yeah, giblets. Oh man, yeah. If you guys haven't seen it,
well, they don't show it.
Yeah, they don't show it.
It also shows that I guess Brow, that robot that was jailed up. He wasn't the only robot to actually kill a human being. So, but they actually deleted Gesicht's history or his memory. So
yeah. So I was like, oh man, like those all just hit in feels. At least for me, that's how I felt. So because it was a slow burn in order to like get to know all these characters and kind of like you had episodes that were dedicated to each robot in a sense, right? In a kind of way, right?
Yeah,
for the most part. And then like how they all related. All the greatest robots in the world that Pluto targeted were, they were the greatest robots in the world. They were also part of what war did they called it?
I forgot. It's the 39th Asian War.
Yeah, it was like
Central Asian War or something.
The Central Asia War. I mean, the way you could kind of put it, it was like the Middle East. In kind of sense.
It's like Iraq.
Yeah, like the United States of Thracia.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. That's USA. We didn't know that. All these robots are in different countries. So, you got Mont Blanc. That was Swiss. But I actually looked up. Mont Blanc is actually a French name.
North number 2.
North number 2.
Brando, who's like European, probably Italian. What was he pretending to be?
Pretending to be? They weren't pretending, man.
They were like, he's like European, like Western European.
You could say, a lot of them were European.
Hercules is American.
Was Hercules American?
He was in Greece, wasn't he? Or something?
Was he in Greece?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he was also in Europe area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because they didn't really have they didn't showcase an American AI.
Okay.
I think that was a theme though, because America didn't have the greatest robot. All other countries did. But later on, you figure out that they did have an AI, which is that weird teddy bear that you guys off camera you asked me about.
Wasn't. I don't think that was ever really clarified. Who that teddy bear was.
Yeah, it was never clarified. But it was with that guy that was in charge of the U.S. Thracia.
I thought that was going to be some sort of like lead into season 2, but then I think they killed the teddy bear
at the end.
Like that. Brock dragged himself across the country, or across the ocean to kill him.
Oh man, we're jumping all over the place, but good thing it's spoiler full.
Spoilery.
I mean, actually, that brings me a point. Should we kind of summarize the whole series in a way that kind of fits? Just explain for the viewers in a little bit.
Well, there's a mysterious robot that's killing what's considered the strongest or greatest fighting robots in the world. He picks them off one by one, and I think he actually succeeds, but one is brought back to life, and there's a lot of crying, a lot of cry, hate, and ends with a big bomb, and it doesn't detonate, and then...
Yeah, see, this is why this guy hates this.
I was very disappointed with the show, with just the way it ended.
I guess we could talk about feelings about it. Okay, well, you've already established that multiple times, and then I've talked about why I liked it.
There are good parts, though. We can start with the
positives. Okay. Should we start with the positives?
You're already positive. So.
Yeah, I kind of did do a lot of positives because it was me relating to the characters. And it's funny because I said that, it's such a slow burn. It kind of was up until the mid part. And that actually helped me feel connected to these characters, I guess, because they took the time to just show us these characters' lives and what they've gone through. Or what they're currently going through. Like, they're literally like normal people, except they're robots, but they have lives. I think in the first, previous podcast, I was like, Gesicht has a wife, The other robot that died from that druggy guy had had a wife too. It's just crazy that they're actually like normal people, except this.
Well, they're playing pretend, right? Like they have tea, they have ice cream, they have beer, they have dinners, and they don't have to do any of that.
They don't have to consume it.
They're copying like what I have here. They're copying like human behavior. I assume because it helps them try to understand human society. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of like kids playing pretend. Is how I looked at it. Trying to make sense of their feelings because they're so young, they're naive.
There was like a human element to it where they're actually where they don't really back up like here in the real world where we have the cloud where they can actually back up full images of computers or anything on the hard drive. Whereas these computers or these robots, they die permanently. They're gone. They're like, you can't bring them back. You can't even recreate an image and put it in the same kind of body.
It's encrypted.
It brings a human element to them. So they actually like, they actually die.
There's the robots, their AI were self-contained into the units that they had. Right. Or it was self-contained into little...
Their cartridge.
N64.
Game cartridge.
Yep, game cartridge. Raymond said it was like an N64. Retro Raymond.
Memory card.
Yeah.
Right, but even then, you can take an N64 cartridge and put it in a different N64.
Yeah, and that was their AI.
Right.
Yeah. But then it's solely that device or that storage unit. And if that thing was destroyed or gone.
So it just,
Yeah.
I get it. But
this could be an alternate world where there's no Wi-Fi and everything's just hardwired.
Right.
Although the robots do communicate wirelessly.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So they have their own, there's like a 4G tower for these robots to talk.
At least 5G, man. Come on.
5G sucks.
This is futuristic. We got AI robots.
Let's spend $1 trillion on this robot and not back it up.
So the positives, getting to know these characters, getting a feel for these characters. At least I did. And then just seeing them die off one by one. Like, oh, crap. Okay. I mean, what really got me too was when I thought Gesicht got through to Pluto, like towards the end. Like, oh man, this is gonna be the end. I thought, without really keeping track of the episodes, I just kind of watched it. I didn't really know when the end was. He stopped fighting Pluto, right? Or Pluto stopped fighting. So it's, okay, that's the end. That's great. And then all of a sudden, the little robot comes up and then blasts him with that rocket. I'm like, oh, well, crap.
I thought that was a pretty cool choice because Gesicht was like the main character from episode 1.
Yeah,
and he doesn't make it to the end. He dies in episode 6.
6 or 7? Yeah, 6.
I think it's 6. It's 6. It's like, they killed the main character here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of an interesting twist, or that kind of broke expectations. Like he wasn't going to be the main guy.
Yeah, and that's what got to me because you're following this characters from the beginning, and then like boom, oh, well, crap, what now?
Well, they started following Adam, and I'm like, oh, it's over now. It's all Astro Boy now.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they were still working on bringing him back to life. Mm-hmm. Like the main character became
Epsilon.
Oh no, Ochano Mitsu.
Which one?
We started following him around.
Ochano Mitsu.
He's the doctor.
The doctor
who created Uran.
Oh, yeah. But I mean...
Epsilon too, but Epsilon was a character for the episode before he was killed off.
That's true.
If Epsilon wasn't so pacifist, he would have killed Sahad or Pluto.
Yeah. Because, I mean, he did kind of defeat him the first time around.
He did the most damage? What did he do? I forgot already.
Well, because...
Broke his arms?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was because when Epsilon was... Where was he at? He was fighting or he was anticipating a fight somewhere. But then Pluto came up to his home. Mm-hmm. So then Epsilon had to like dash over back to his own house to protect his kids.
Yeah.
That he was watching. And then that's when he came up with Pluto. And then all you see is just this ball of light that just explodes in the sky. Like, holy crap. And then you see Epsilon come down. It's like, oh yeah, I defeated him. I mean, but lo and behold, he didn't really. He just like blew off an arm. Mm-hmm. Right? I was like,
I always thought that was kind of weird where like they told Epsilon to leave his house to keep him safe. But the enemy came to his house. So they should have taken the kids and have like his backup be at his house. Because I guess the enemy knows where he lives. Right. Why did he have to? I felt like they made a mistake there.
Yeah. Well, yes and no. So when Epsilon was in that other base hiding, that mountaintop.
Yeah. Like at the top floor.
Yeah. So who shot at him? Because that was a huge laser beam, like I don't know what you call that, what they call that laser beam.
Hammer of Dawn.
Nice.
What is it?
God of War.
Iron
Oh,
Curtain.
no, God of War. Gears of War.
Gears of
Sorry.
Gears of War. Gaming reference there. Yeah, or I don't recall. Like, since you guys watched it recently, it's kind of fuzzy in my mind right now. But did it get established who fired that shot or where it came from?
Yeah, it came from the enemy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, which enemy?
I mean, after
And was it targeting Epsilon or was it targeting?
After the blast, someone had to point out that the cliffside made horns. So that's supposed to be like a reference to
Still Pluto?
probably Pluto.
But where did they fire that from?
Probably from the 5G tower.
Like, where did it come from? I
know,
mean,
right?
I guess it was. What's the experiment? Bosa or
Oh, Bora.
Bora? Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know why I said Bosa, but
Yeah, Nick Bosa.
yeah. Anyways, the Bora project, Bora experiment, whatever the hell they called it. And
Yeah,
maybe
another robot.
yeah, another huge robot that just came out
Even
of nowhere.
bigger.
Yeah, that was different because it was supposed to be some like cultivating, like it was supposed to be helping the Earth, right? It was supposed to
I
help.
thought that's what Pluto was too.
No, it was a Bora project. Pluto was purely made to act revenge because it was a part where that scientist guy,
Assad.
not Assad, no,
Abdullah.
Yeah, Abdullah. Because
It's
Abdullah.
Yeah. No D. Am I right?
Abula Amugada.
Oh wait, that brings me another point because you guys watched an English dub, right?
Oh, they changed it to Abdullah?
Yeah. So when I was watching it with
Abdullah?
English subtitles but Japanese
Yeah.
voiceovers, it was Abdullah.
Oh. I think the American one's right.
It's typical.
Whatever.
It's usually whatever. Anyways, Abdullah. I mean, however it's pronounced or spelled. Anyways, so from the Central Asia War, whatever it's called, his family pretty much died.
Yeah.
His wife, his daughter, like his biological wife, his biological daughter, and his robot son, who was Sahad, right?
Yeah.
Or was it another?
It was.
Was he a
Assad?
robot son or just...
He was a robot.
Yeah, it was a
son,
robot
yeah.
son. Yeah.
Okay.
And then little did you know that he actually died himself.
Yeah.
But then he never knew that he died because he implanted his own AI memories into a robot.
Mhm.
So he always thought of himself as just almost like a cyborg, or most of his body parts were replaced with robotic parts because he almost died. But he actually did.
Yeah.
Sahad was the awakening of Dr. Tenma's like creation, right? Like, was it Tenma? So he went over to Persia to build that robot that Abdullah wanted. Was it the Prince of Persia or King of Persia or something like that?
Oh.
So Sahad was the awakening of that robot that they couldn't wake up because they gave him like 9.9 billion personalities, and then they forced him to wake up.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
and it was
Yeah.
Sahad.
Like they made him choose.
That's what personality came out of it.
That's right. See, my mind was a little fuzzy in there. Thanks for clarifying. So, where was I going with this? I forgot.
You're going. I think you're trying to get to the Bora project eventually.
Oh yeah, getting to the Bora project. So that's what the great scientists were in Persia, that's what caused the Great Atlantic Asia War, because the scientists were trying to figure out, okay, what's the Bora project? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And then they accused them of creating this this robot that was going to be what's it called? Weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there are all these robot bodies that they threw in the cave.
Yeah. So
They were all like failed experiments.
So it was a kind of a misunderstanding that labeled
Yeah.
them as, creating weapons of mass destruction.
Which is kind of on the nose, right?
This
Not
sounds
very
very
subtle.
familiar. Yeah,
Yeah.
this sounds very familiar to something in American history, you could say. So then they're accused of having weapon of mass destruction. Of course, at the time it wasn't. That started the Great Central Asia War, and thus resulting in Abdullah's family being wiped out and him dying without him knowing. And then him enacting revenge, going up to the Prince of Persia. I don't know. The king of that place. I just game reference joke there. But anyways, going to the king and say, hey, I could take revenge. Let me do this. And so that's when they created Pluto. Pluto was purely meant for revenge against all those other countries, basically. That's where I was going at. And Bora was initially supposed to be supposed to make all the barren land better.
It was a terraforming machine.
Terraforming.
Yeah. Kind of like what in Superman.
Oh, what is that?
The terraforming. The what Zod was trying to do with Earth.
Oh, Superman
Man
2.
of Steel. Man of Steel.
Oh.
Man, trying to do references here. All right, sorry. They're terraforming machine. They're trying to turn Earth into
where they're just
Krypton,
bouncing the humans on the concrete back and forth on the North Poles.
Yeah, different kind of machine, but same kind of sense, terraforming. But anyways,
Rave machine.
So Bora became more of another revenge machine because it would bore through the Earth and then basically detonate lava that was
the anti-proton bomb or something.
Yeah, it was gonna blow up underneath the United States of Thracia. Like how the name changed there. I don't know how I feel about the ending. It did get more into feels, but it changed because it became a point of Adam, right?
Yeah, well, he's the one who saved the world.
Yeah. But, I mean, the point I'm trying to get is that at that point where it's like, oh crap, all the robots had died. Pluto was successful. He destroyed all the greatest robots in the world. Mm-hmm. Except you find out that, okay, Astro Boy or Adam isn't completely dead or gone. And they had to get what's his name? Dr. Tenma?
Right.
And so basically they just inserted the complete AI, like with all the emotions and everything. Because Dr. Tenma always said that, yeah, Adam was the greatest, but he wasn't 100%. You know, he wasn't like a perfect AI or whatever he was mentioning. Yeah. I don't know how they said it in English dub, but when I was listening to Japanese dub, like he wasn't the perfect example. Mm-hmm. They took a chance in order to reboot Adam because he was technically destroyed from Pluto, but then to revive him, they had to give him that complete AI. Right.
Also, just to kind of add to that, I think it's kind of interesting how he determined that perfect AI meant having some sense of like anger or hatred in you to be, I guess, more human or more human-like.
Yeah, because it's another emotion. I mean,
they cut to him having like a meal with Adam. Adam's like, "Oh, I love this. I love what you cooked or something." He's like, my actual son hates my cooking. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what triggered. It's like, oh, you don't have the pettiness of a human.
Is that why he deemed Astro Boy or Adam failure?
Yeah, that's the flaw. Yeah. He saw the flaw. Supposed to be like
Tobio
because he tried to recreate. Father. Yeah, he tried to recreate his son, but
he saw the flaw, and the flaw was the pettiness of humans.
Yeah, it wasn't his son because it didn't have the same attitudes.
That was neat.
Nice tie in there. Yeah. And then when he did put that in there, then it's like, oh crap. I mean, of course we know that he's not going to turn bad, but then you get to see that kind of different, like, okay, will Adam become, force of good, or will he become a force of evil,
Well, what happened, he was like processing it, right?
Yeah.
And then Gesicht was the one who told him, hey, what's it? Anger makes you angry or something? Right. Or hatred makes you hatred?
Yeah. Hatred
some
only
kind of
creates more hate.
Statement.
Yeah.
Hatred. It's like, okay, if you put it that way, I will not be hateful.
Well, he still had hate, but then he didn't have to enact on that kind of hate the same way that, like Pluto, like, because he got to a point towards the end where Adam is going to have to stop. Actually, he first had to stop Pluto.
Right.
But then he didn't destroy him, even though he had hatred for him. Yeah. He didn't destroy him. But then he also figured out finally that, hey, Pluto wasn't really trying to fight him anyways. He was just trying to pretty much, what do you call it? Death by AI? Like Death by Cop, but in the robot terms. He was letting Adam basically kill him, destroy him because he was feeling bad. So it was really Sahad at the end. It wasn't really Pluto anymore. Yeah. In the sense that Pluto was the AI, the robot that was vengeful and wanted revenge on everyone.
Was there anything sillier than watching that robot cry? With his fangs out. It's like, why am I crying?
Deep voice. Monstrous voice.
Why do I feel like this? And there's physical tears. Like, where did the tears come from? These are robots. It's from all the water they're fake drinking.
They have liquid in it?
All the tea and beer they're pretending to drink. I just thought it reduced all these heavy themes. It just reduced it to, don't hate. Crying is okay. It's a natural emotion. This is how we deal with grief or sadness. And it's subtle in the first 6-7 episodes, but in the 8th, they just keep saying it over and over again. It's like they don't trust us to get it, right? It's like, you're crying, now I'm crying. Why are we crying? Oh, because this is how people feel when they're sad. It's like I get it. Like we went through the slow burn for 6-7 episodes. But now you're just going to be like, okay, well, I don't think you guys get it yet. I'm going to really drill it in this final final episode, and it's as an example of this, at the very end when they save the world and then they see this sort of like rainbow effect. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
And then the doctor says, "Hey, it looks like a field of wildflowers," and immediately they cut to Sahad in that field of wildflowers. Like, yeah, I get the parallel, but they don't think that we could pick up on that. I think they think we're not smart enough, or whatever themes they're trying to explore, I don't think they get it themselves. So
they went back and forth with it, because I remember Gesicht, when he was investigating, I think it was between Persia and then he went over to where Sahad studied, right? So they found that one tulip that just I think Sahad was growing them all.
It wouldn't die or something.
Yeah, it wouldn't die. I think it was a reflection of himself,
Mm-hmm.
and then he caused destruction to everyone else around him. But then, they flip it at the end where, I guess he makes everything flourish or something like that at the end when he gets in a fight with Astro and they save the world together. I don't know. It was just, yeah.
All right, excellent. Those were nice scenes.
Yeah. Right.
I don't have any complaints about those.
The only complaint is they oversimplified things for us as viewers.
Yeah. And I think this is something I see in general with anime. Like this, it's just too much explaining of what's happening when we can just see it, And I think that's why I don't watch as much anime as I'd like to. And an example is Attack on Titan season 1. I'm like, they keep telling us what's happening. I was like, I know what's happening. I see it. But they keep having to describe their feelings. It's like, oh my god, I am so scared. There is a monster coming. It's like, I know. Like we know what we're watching here.
Don't you think it adds to it though? Like it draws them more. Well, let me take. Were you watching Attack on Titan on English dub too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Netflix.
Okay. See, I think there's a recurring theme here. You guys aren't feeling it, especially in English dub. And then to me, I made this a talking point. I think this was off air, but I feel like if it's a Japanese anime, it needs to be heard in Japanese because you're not going to get the same feeling out of the voices out of an English dub. It's just not there. At least I feel like, okay, the growls, the what's it called? Just the tenacity of a Japanese voice saying the lines versus an English dub that's trying to translate what was said for that scene. It just doesn't feel right. I don't know.
I mean, maybe, but this is some of the best dubbing I've heard in Pluto. So maybe maybe Attack on Titan is better in Japanese, but what I saw in English, I thought it dragged.
I don't know. See, I'm gonna have to listen. Maybe I'll watch the last episode again in English dub and see how I feel, if it's a little bit different or not. Because I felt like all the emotions were there when I was feeling them, just cry, yell, and then scream, and just like, okay.
Well, how did Pluto look when he was crying at the end? Did that not look silly in the Japanese dub or subtitle?
I don't recall that. Maybe I didn't.
It's kind of a pivotal scene at the end, isn't it?
Was it the very end?
Near the very end.
Okay.
They're not fighting anymore. It's like they're having conversation.
Mm-hmm. Was that the scene where he's pretty much beat up, but then Adam doesn't destroy him?
Yeah. He kind of avoids hitting him,
mm-hmm.
and then
Okay, yeah, I get that point. I mean, for me, okay, I don't recall it. I remember the scene. I just don't recall the whole crying being, or maybe I didn't take issue with it. It didn't
come off as corny.
It didn't, because it just immediately went, okay, Adam said, all right, now I have to go after Bora, or right? So he plunges into the volcano or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, so that whole point didn't get to me. And then it was just like, okay, he bores down, and then he's like, okay, well, crap. Everyone's saying, hey, Adam, you got to get out of there. You're going to melt, basically. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you see Pluto come through, and then, he handles it. I mean, you can kind of see that coming. I saw that coming, but I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Well,
I have more negatives. If you guys want more negatives, or should I be more positives?
Lay it in there.
Let's talk about how this story is kind of told as a murder mystery.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really a murder mystery.
It's just a murder.
It's just a murder. There are these cliffhangers at the end of each episode, but you kind of know who the bad guy is pretty early on.
Yeah.
The only real reveal is that Abula is 100% robot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not something we were questioning in the beginning. Well, we kind of questioned it. Right? He walked like a metal detector, right? And it triggered something in Adam.
Yeah.
But that's kind of it. But he has like the evil eyes.
you know, I mean, bottom line, you know, Abdullah's evil, regardless if he's a human or a robot. Like, fact of the matter is, he's fake pretending to be helpful with all the other scientists when in fact he's actually trying to enact revenge on them, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if he's a human or if he's a AI robot. He's evil either way.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess that point is like kind of moot. It doesn't matter.
But then there's no mystery. Like, we're not revealing anything. It's like you're having all this mysterious buildup, but there's no buildup. There's no payoff. Like, for example, this is kind of a little petty. The horns, right? He kills a couple robots at the beginning. He kills Mont Blanc. And there's horns, right? And then he talks, Gesicht talks to the robot in the cellar. He's bad.
Oh, Brow.
Brow. And Brow makes this comment like, oh, horns, like the devil, like Pluto, who's like the Roman god of devil or something, right? Like, that was the connection. And then we see the horns again when he kills like a activist or something, like it's hung up in the tree. Yeah. What is the point of the horns? Like, that's supposed to be part of the mystery, right? But we see early on that Pluto has horns. So it's like, okay, he has horns. Pluto's killing him. And we know that Pluto we know what Pluto is already. Yeah. Because he's this big tornado that's coming. And it's just, this mystery of the horns goes nowhere. It's and then at the end, you have that big mountain where Epsilon is, right? And they demolish it, but it leaves like 2 spikes of the land. And then someone on the side of the screen goes, hey, that looks like horns. So what? But like, what's the point?
Yeah, you're right. Even if they did reveal who it was, it's not like you could do anything about it. He was just all powerful. It's like saying Galactus. Who you know, if Galactus killed somebody, it's like, oh.
Well, there's no point in the show where the guy's like, you know, we want to leave a signature. You know, I'm a serial killer. I'm gonna leave my stamp on this murder. Yeah. That's why you would do something like that, right? I want to make them scared that, you know, I did this. None of that's mentioned.
Yeah.
So it's a waste of my time. Like, you're following this. It's like, where are these horns going? And they just forget about it. So it starts as a murder mystery, and it just drops it. And it's just, you know, why am I crying? Why am I so sad? Why am I angry? And it's so it just dismisses it as just, hey, you know, humans have emotions. You have emotions too. Like, that's it. Like, that's as far as you're gonna go with this theme of, you know, with the robots. And
I hear where you're going with that. Okay, I hate to agree. Yeah, the horns, that was kind of pointless. It was dismissive. It's symbolic, but it's symbolic for nothing because you already know who the bad guy is. You already know Pluto. There's nothing more than it's like, okay, all these murders are happening, and it's always a signature horns.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the same guy. Yeah, we kind of get that. We know.
What they could have done is don't point out the horns. Just let the viewer see it.
Yeah.
So we see the symbolism. But no, they have to tell us. Every time there's horns, someone has to say, hey, there's horns.
Oh, there's horns.
Right? Like, they don't trust us to pick up on that stuff.
I think it would have been better if they just showed him, like, inserting the horns. It would have had more effect.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Well, that'd be played for comedy.
Right.
So I kind of get it. Yeah. By the end, it kind of doesn't matter because, okay, what's the big deal with the horns? It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. You're a waste of a detective.
It just leads in, oh, okay, it's all one murderer. Okay.
Yeah. Who you know has horns early on, so it's not a surprise.
So I was like, all right, whatever. Yeah. And, yeah.
I got a little passionate there because I felt like when I got to the end, I was like, oh, man, I wasted 8 hours.
But then I'll say, okay, that aside, and the whole theme of, like, humanity, what was the feeling that I felt? I think the feeling I felt is, okay, getting entwined with these characters, having a feeling for these characters, I think. Particularly Gesicht, I think. And
what you said about Brando?
Yeah, and Brando. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a moving scene too.
Good short story. One episode.
North Number 2 I thought was moving.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really feel the same way, but I mean, funny. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't care for music or or the piano playing. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So you've already discussed like, okay, by the end of the series, it totally just okay. It's over for you. Mm-hmm. You're like just dismissive of it.
Well, I already got to the end, so it's like
I was like, okay, what's the point? I'm trying to think of like what's the overall theme, I guess, of this anime. What message were they trying to share with us as a viewer, as the audience?
Well, I think it's a commentary on what it means to be human, right? I think that's what they were going for. Mm-hmm. But I think they just reduced it to sadness and anger as stuff that makes us human that robots couldn't quite comprehend until they experienced, loss themselves. It's like, cool, that's you could go deeper than that with the world that you built. With them pretending to have dinner or pretending to want to go to the zoo. They have no interest in this, but they want to understand. And I thought they were going to go that route, but it was too reductive at the end.
Well, valid points there. I mean, man, I'm trying to counter it, but you're starting to make me think that I shouldn't like this. Just kidding. No.
Well, let's see. Let's see if I have anything else I want to bring up.
The whole segment on Pinocchio, they added that in. They retold it with.
That's a nice. I'm sure if you're an Astro Boy fan, there's a lot of Easter eggs. I know Pinocchio is obviously one of them. I think Pinocchio is referenced in the cartoon. And it's just not.
Oh, I didn't know.
It's not a hard.
I'm a real boy.
They each had.
There's a parallel with Pinocchio and Pluto.
Boy,
Robot Masters.
Yeah, I think it's kind of all I have for the negatives.
All right, I'm gonna rein this back in. Overall thoughts, overall views. Marqui?
I thought it was just a bunch of maybe super robots with like daddy issues, maybe except for Gesicht. But other than that, yeah, all the way to the end, it was like a daddy issue thing. It was like the dad versus the kid, and then I don't know if the payoff was worth it, but I still enjoyed it.
All right,
it's also kind of muddied at the end too. Like we don't know that teddy bear.
Yeah, I didn't really see like not sort of a theme, but something to something to really think about. It was done. To me, I don't think there should be a season 2, if there is going to be.
I think I read a review after this. I think it covers the entire manga series.
Well, there you go.
So there might not be, unless they go off on their own. And I don't know. Overall, I did not like this show. There are parts. Is it the sum is greater than the parts are greater than the sum of the whole or something? Parts of it are good, but overall, I was very disappointed.
Yeah, the same. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm feeling torn again. I'm like, okay. In a first go through, because I kind of just went through it all. I mean, except for the first episode, I watched a couple times, and then I watched it just pretty much going through. I didn't think too much anything of it. Maybe my brain's a little bit more simplified than you read, but
I just took notes. That's all I did.
But simplified in the sense that, okay, I just accepted everything as is. I let them tell me what's going on. I let the anime tell me how to feel and all this kind of stuff. And then I just accepted it. It's like, all right, let me just go for the ride. And I think that's what I did. I just went for the ride of what story they wanted to tell me, flat out. Oh yeah, hatred. Let me get over it. All right, cool.
Can I bring up one more point here?
Yeah.
Are you guys disappointed there's like very little action? Because all the action scenes with Pluto, they're obscured by the tornado. So you never see any like robots fighting until like the very, very end, which was really short. Mm-hmm. For something that's advertised in the trailers that's pretty action packed. I thought that was also Astro Boy itself, kind of an action cartoon. I thought I was a little misled.
To me, I don't think so, because the action was never really the focal point of this series. It was more of just, okay, the murder mystery, even though it wasn't really a mystery. And also just the overarching theme of like these robots gaining humanity, or, trying to attain humanity.
Yeah.
Or what does it mean to be human, or, human-like for these robots? So I think that's more of like what this anime was trying to, show us.
I guess when you saw a fight about to happen, were you let down a little bit? It's like,
when you bring that up,
No punch.
Yeah, I mean,
No punch.
everything. Well, yeah, everything was obscured by some like tornado and like lightning.
I know some of it because they had to obscure what Adam looked like, but when I look back, I was like, man, there's no action. It was all like happening away.
Yeah, like it was definitely like okay. From the get go, went north number 2 when he
when the sky.
he's in the sky.
You look at the old man instead.
Yeah, a couple of flashes.
Yeah,
and then boom, you
And
see
then
something
humming.
Oh yeah, humming. Let's go through each one, like how they got destroyed and like how they fought and destroyed. And then what's the next one?
Well, Mont Blanc didn't even happen.
Yeah,
that was before the
that
show.
was just destroyed.
Brando.
Brando was next.
Yeah.
And then I thought that was gonna be something because oh man, we got these fighter robots.
Yeah, because they had this little wrestling match, right?
And he like
set up.
Yeah. And then he goes out and he brings out his fighting suit.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
They hyped that up and they didn't show anything. All the other robots were on the comms though, so they're like, oh my god.
They're watching it and we can't see it.
Right.
Although the only thing I'll say was messed up is when the way that his horns were made. Remember what they were?
His hands?
They're his arms.
Oh, his arms, that's right.
I was like, oh,
like
damn.
by his cartridge or something?
Right.
Yeah, by his memory chip.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's fucked up. Oh, that's messed up.
I forgot what happened to Hercules. I don't remember. He like dove in the water. He like tore a piece of Adam off in the tornado.
And he got his he actually got his old body to come to him, and then he fought him with his regular
he jumped
body.
in the water or something?
Right.
He's like headless.
Yeah, that part's a little fuzzy for me, but
And then Gesicht and Epsilon. So Gesicht was just shot by a kid. He didn't get to fight.
so Gesicht actually
Well, yeah,
won.
he did confront Adam.
Yeah, he confronted Adam, but then it changed because they didn't like fight. Well, it was more of like they had a discussion, kind of, right?
There was kind of an action scene there. Like some arms were thrown at him and he jumped.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you're Adam. And then he sensed like, oh, Adam's kind of in a vulnerable state.
Or Pluto.
Oh, yeah, Pluto. Sorry.
I was like, Adam. Yeah.
But they had a bunch of those guys in the trench coats. Is that what you're talking about when he went to the den?
Oh, yeah, the cockroach
Yeah.
cockroach guy.
Bunch of those.
Yeah, that's some action.
Some
part.
action.
But,
But then when it got to the actual Pluto, like, the nemesis or
Yeah.
whatever, the overarching antagonist of the series is like,
Gesicht was made out of like adamantium or something, so he could take everything. He could
Vibranium.
just tank
Yeah.
everything.
yeah. Okay. No, I'm not going to get destroyed by this.
Right.
And then Epsilon was just more lights in the sky. There was a struggle for a bit. Like you got to see both of them like chatting.
Yeah.
Like taking a break from fighting.
Yeah,
But then,
exactly.
when they got back to fighting, you get to see it.
Yeah. Flash a light, and you saw the thing.
Right.
I mean, the hand. That's what I'm talking about. You just saw the
That's
hand.
right, his hands.
Yeah. His hand.
Like, boy, let me hold those hands.
Yeah. The little kid takes up the hand.
Even Adam's first death, he just flew into a tornado and disappeared. Like, he just died. Right?
Did he fly into it? Yeah.
But his first death. Or his death.
Yeah, his
His only death.
He was like unscratched when they found him.
Yeah. Well, he got into a catatonic state. Basically.
Oh, is that what
He wasn't
happened?
like destroyed, but he was just like.
Right. But he didn't have any like arms sticking out of his like
Yeah.
necks or something.
So that one was a little bit
Right.
different.
Yeah.
That one they made a little bit different. Why did they make that one different?
Someone was
Plot
his
armor?
sister was watching.
Yeah.
Oh, were there no horns?
Yeah. No horns.
I don't know.
Why wasn't he like destroyed more? He was just. I mean,
Well, he was dead, but he wasn't obliterated.
did Adam and Pluto kind of have like a discussion?
Relationship?
No. Well, that probably would have made it more interesting.
No, not for me. I would not.
'Cause he didn't go straight to a fight, right? Or did he jump to a fight? Did they like converse? I'm trying to remember.
He was approaching like the grandkids.
Yeah, the grandkids'
And
house.
Uran was there 1st with a dog,
Mhm.
a robot dog. Yeah, and then he showed up, and Uran said, "Don't do it. Don't fight him."
Right.
Did Uran have any effect over?
I don't think she had, no. I don't think she had those kind of powers.
No, in terms of like communicating with the robot.
No.
So, just real quick, I watched the 1980, the two-parter that this show is based on, and Pluto kidnaps Uran. He kind of like feels she's not one of the robots he's supposed to kill, so he kind of protects her and keeps her alive, and that's kind of where he develops his humanity. The fact that he protected Uran.
Yeah, that's a change. I actually did watch a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Like, and then when he ended up fighting Pluto, then he took out Uran first from his chest, right? He's, oh, come out here, you might get destroyed in our fight. Yeah.
And they actually fought twice. Astro Boy kicked his ass the first time, but let him live. And then the second fight, he was about to kill Astro Boy, but he said, "I'm going to let you live because you let me live." But the other robots, he just destroyed. Like he took Gesicht, or whatever Gesicht was in the cartoon, like took his legs and like ripped them in half.
So yeah,
a little violent.
Really quite different from the Pluto anime.
And he does it all in 2 episodes. He kills all of them.
He kills them fast. Mont Blanc is just like a little wrestling match for like 5 minutes, and then kills them.
The only thing I thought funny was like when he turned into tornado and he just kept spitting. And off I go.
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
Yeah. It's funny to point that out. I did watch a little bit. I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, and it sucked because the last episode I recommended watching Astro Boy, but I don't recommend those 2 episodes.
Okay, at least those 2. So scratch that.
So far, yes.
Watch Pluto instead and be disappointed with that.
Oh, at least I was.
All right. So, I mean, final thoughts. I mean, we talked about that. I mean, anything else you wanted to add, Raymond?
No, those are my. I'm just kind of bummed I was let down because I was really into it, and I spent 7 hours of this week watching episodes 2 through 8, and didn't nail the landing.
Non-recommend from Raymond.
Yeah, it's a thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't recommend it either. I mean, it's my intro to the Astro Boy universe, but I mean, I thought it was fun in that way, but other than that, I couldn't. As a whole anime, like no, I couldn't recommend it.
And for me, I felt like, okay, if you could just let it tell you what's going on, like the whole complaint that Raymond has, then yeah, it's fine. It's mindless in a sense.
We're all smarter than that.
Yeah, I'm not, so that's why I liked it. It was simple enough to follow. You really don't have to think too much about it. You just let the story unfold and let it be. If you can get over all the slow parts, which is basically half of the series, until it picks up.
More than half.
You think it was more than half that it took?
I mean, it's a slow burn in general, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of...
Well, I only really felt the slow parts between 1, 2, and kind of 3. I mean...
The 3 is
Brando was 3, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I said 3 was kind of like, all right, because you get into that whole part of Brando and his family and the whole wrestling and whatever. And then you get into learning more about the Central Asia War. Yeah. So like it was picking up at that point. So that's why for me it was kind of around there.
And that is kind of a mystery. The unveiling, like getting the details of that war.
Yeah.
That's something that could have been a mystery. That's not what.
But that's not what this is about, right?
That's how we were. Yeah. That's how they started with.
Mm-hmm. So it's a murder mystery in the sense that it wasn't a mystery of the murders, but the mystery unfolding about why all of this was happening. I think you could say. Because it was all happening because it was basically revenge in a kind of way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the mystery. Why was it happening? That is the mystery. Why was it happening?
Yeah. Well, it's just like telling a story. It doesn't have to be told in the style of a murder mystery, I guess.
Yeah. Well, different ways of viewing it. So, all right. 2 negatives, 1 positive. Take it as you will, folks. I think that's mostly what we got for this. And yeah, any final words, guys?
I have nothing to plug yet.
All right, not until we get sponsorships, Marqui.
No, looking forward to the next series we're gonna watch.
Oh, we got plenty of things to talk about next time, but we will save it for then. So, all right, everyone, I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed our little discussion here, a little banter. I hope you enjoyed our podcast series. Until next time, have a fantastic day. Hey guys, thanks for listening to our show. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback for us, we greatly appreciate that. If you can send us an email to worktimefunpodcast@gmail.com, or you can send us a message at X, formerly known as Twitter, and our handle is @worktimefunpod. Thanks again.